Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending yet, folks. It's me all the way, Joe Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bottom Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Yeah, this can't you believe it? Shit. We have one more day left of March. It seems like we just started March. And now we're on our way to April. We're on our way to April showers and May flowers. And it's not that long for the spring. Spring's just around the corner. Just had daylight certain times about a couple of weeks ago, and now we're heading into the spring. Just went through. Winter wasn't too bad here in North Carolina. I don't know about everybody else, but we had some snow and a little ice. But now we're starting to get into sunshine and rainbows, and it's the yellow scourge. You know, when pollen kicks up, and if you have sinus problems, I have nasal issues. It's gonna kill us. So, folks, this is roundtable discussion number 12. We have this every Sunday. We get some people on here, guests give some things overview of what happened this past few weeks in this month. We have usual categories. Also, we have a shout out to a lady she'll be here a bit later, but this is really for her because she's doing some good work. So, folks, as you know, we are regulators. Remember the movie Young Guns? That's where you see the picture of Billy the Kid. I'm Billy the Kid. I'll make you famous. And we're regulators on here, so we're gonna bring on some of my regulators. My usual suspects. We have here my lady, the lovely Mrs. Beverly Coleman here.
Hey.
All right, amateur, still not pro yet.
So working on it.
We see it here, and we have here OCB figure pro, the lovely Miss Nicole Strauss. Yes, and also my man. He's my right-hand man. He's one of my right-hand man. He's one of my other regulators because, he's usually on my Most Talk Money. But we have him up because he's I call him my Merlin. He's the man of information. My man, Jeremy Remo, a.k.a. Mr. Art of Female Muscle, a.k.a. Film Physique Fan.
Hey, Jeremy.
Hi. How's it going?
Hey, good. How are you?
All right.
Now, Tiger has to be in the video too.
That face, a little Scotty. So, folks, these are my regulators. We're gonna mount up, and like I said in the movie, you can't be in your geek on the street. You gotta know how to handle steel to earn your keep. So that's how we're gonna do here. And these ladies do know how to handle steel. That's why they're in the sport. So, ladies, what we want to talk about first is there's some stuff going around. Saw that recently that I did think both me and Jeremy did it. We talked about how Tim Gardner has dropped women's bodybuilding from the Tampa Bay Pro, but I'm seeing somebody say that it's coming back. I think they might have changed it. I don't know the details of it yet. Someone sent me say I think it's actually Masters is still there, but I'm not certain about Women's Open. There's also some rumors about the other shows that he has.
I didn't hear that. Where did you hear that Tampa Pro maybe coming back?
Well, they keeping Masters, but they're not going to bring back Open.
Oh.
That's the thing. I think some people reaching out to me showing that they're going to still have the Open division, but not going to have they'll have the Master division, but not the Open, because with Masters you have to pay. But I still, as I'm still a little bit. Because that was a great show. It was one of the handful of shows that still allow women's bodybuilding. But we understand it's about the issue when it comes to money, and it's hard to get sponsors. As just saw the announcement made by Wings of Strength. If you saw that, that I think a lot of ladies are kind of raw about it.
So you think he eliminated it because the competitors aren't showing up, or sponsorship, or what? Why do you think he eliminated women's bodybuilding, open bodybuilding?
Well, sponsorship mostly, because I think Female Bodybuilding says $10,000. I think the sanction fees is I think it's $10,000. Then you have to put money for prize money and everything else.
Right. And I think the sanction fee is I think it depends on the show, because I've heard Eunice was saying that to get a sanction fee for the Arnold is $25,000. Maybe it's different for some of these not as well established shows like that. It may vary, but I've heard $10,000 now. I think who was it? I think Chelsea Dion, when she made a post on her Instagram story, she had mentioned $10,000. So I think the sanction fee to get the actual show, the division and the lineup, is 10 grand, and then you have to post prize money on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's the thing is that if you can have 10 grand to do it, then money for prize money. Like I would say, if I could, maybe put up 10,000 for the prize money, 20,000 for the 10 grand for the sanction, 20,000 for the prize money, so you can have a nice big pot, and did have enough where I can do this. Like I remember someone pointed this out last year. Ken Richardson, whose wife was Amy Richardson, he runs Bulletproof, which is they do jewelry and stuff like that. He wanted to pay the entry fee for the master competitors at the Clash when they had Win Physique, but some stuff happened or whatever went wrong with them, and then he just dropped out of it. That's what something I would like to do. If I could pay for not just the entry fees, and also the prize money for both Open and Masters, where ladies can, like I said, if I break it like this, like okay, let's say if I put up $30,000, okay, that's $10,000 for the sanction fee, $20,000. We break it down to okay, we take the first 10,000 and we cut up for the Open division. Lost her, I mean, she'll be back in a minute, and then take the rest and break it down as prize money. Like you have prize money for the Open, prize money for the Masters, and also pay a sanction fee for master competitors. How many master competitors you have, and whether should cover their prize money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a good idea. I think the money may be there. I just think people. Well, you got the new division that's come up too, so that kind of took away probably from some sponsorships too. I think kind of catapult and launch that off.
Yeah, the thing with that is the Fit Model, they just awarded their first Fit Model Pro, I think about a week ago, but still it's not even. You still have to get enough people, enough bodies. It's going to take at least, I think, a good year or more before it really starts gear up. Jeremy's back, bring him back in.
Yeah.
Hey, brother. Hey. And as I was telling the ladies, like if you could take and put up like maybe 10,000 for the sanction, $20,000 for prizes and everything else, break down to 20. Take the first 10,000, pay for the Open, and the rest after you pay for entry fee for the master competitors. Whatever's left over should go to prize money for the master competitors. Would you think that work?
It would. It's just you have to figure out where to get it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the hardest part of all. It's just trying to figure out who is willing to put up that kind of money. Because as in comparison to stuff like the really big sports organizations like NFL or NBA or such like that, $20,000 is a drop in the bucket. But in bodybuilding, that's a lot of money to try to have to come up with that. So it's just a question of who's got it and who's prepared to put it up.
Yeah, and there's guys I know who's out there who have it, but the fact is, we said it before, and I think someone has rehashed it, that some of these people don't want to be aligned with the sport because if they are fans of women's bodybuilding, they look cross-eyed. And then the one thing also, some of them want to get a return on their investment, But that's the big thing, is there could be a return for the investment in the future. I know some people say, how about do a GoFundMe? But here's about GoFundMe, it's a hit or miss. Truly more of a miss. Because, we both know competitors who have used GoFundMe so they raise money for go to a show. I know some ladies try to get GoFundMe to do the Masters Olympia. I know some ladies try to do GoFundMe just for the season prep for this year. And some of them are amateurs.
Wow.
GoFundMe, though, some people have mixed reviews about that. I've heard a lot of people say they didn't like people doing that. Some people don't mind it. I mean, I'm very supportive of somebody, if they say, hey, I need a couple of dollars to do something. But I've heard a lot of even a couple of pros and trainers, they didn't like that idea because they feel like that's more of a hobby. They think GoFundMe is more set up for if you really need it for something serious. So it's kind of a mixed review on that one because I've heard people, they just didn't like that idea of people getting GoFundMes for bodybuilding.
Quick questions. What are the competitors doing? Like the women that would compete in women's open bodybuilding? Like, I personally don't know, so I'm learning a lot during this session, this talk right now. So what are the open bodybuilders? What are they saying? What are they doing to pretty much just fight for their category if they want to compete? Like, are they fighting for it? Like, what are they? I would, because they were trying to get rid of figure. I'd fight for figure.
Well, I know Sheena Olick. She went on live the day when the Wings Street put off their thing about the Rising Phoenix, and she talked about it. Most others, I don't think they can do much. I
Yeah.
know, yeah, I know some. They know people who could probably do something, but the thing is, were they willing to want to help them out? I mean, it's about if they want their sport or their division to survive, then they're the ones that put the work in.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
but also the fans have to show up, and not only do fans have to show up, as I've said, not just here, but in several comments that have been circulating around with this subject on IG, they got to be paying for this shit. They got to stop doing shit for free. They got to stop streaming shit for free. They got to stop looking for free streams and such like that. They have to start paying for it. They have to start shelling out the money for it. And for those guys who have got serious money, they have to start. They have to start instead of dumping money on like a gift registry or such like that they have for some of these women over on Amazon. Instead of that, putting up the prize money like we've been talking about here for sanction fees and for prize money to have the division put out on the show. Because this lives and dies by money.
Yeah.
If the money isn't there, it's gonna die. It's gonna die out. I mean, it's like then you have that blow. Nicole, I don't know if you know what's happened this week with Wings of Strength.
No.
Do you know what that is? Okay.
Yeah, I
Well,
know
what?
yeah, I
Right.
do.
Did you see the post that's been circulating around that they're now reducing the prize money for the Rising Phoenix?
No, I didn't.
That it's now going to be dropped from 50,000, and now that money is going to be dispersed evenly across all the female divisions.
Okay.
So now they're going to severely curtailing the amount of prize money now for the Rising Phoenix. A lot of bodybuilders are upset about that.
Yeah. Well,
because of it.
We have the lady who's been in sport for a long time and who is a friend of mine. She's also one of the sponsors of the Triple Dynasty. This people, folks, you have the lovely Mrs. Eunice Martinez. She's one of the regulators. I call her Chauncey Sanchez.
Hi everybody, how are y'all?
Doing okay?
Doing great.
But, she's one who's really been giving some information about what's going on. And what we'll do, I'm going to pull up the post from Wings of Strength if you want to check it out. It's like I said again, as a fan, I am kind of disappointed by this. And when I'm done, I'm going to make an announcement after this. Yeah, I'll give a second. And we'll give you, and I would like to get everybody's thoughts and opinions after this. So here we go. And as I'm going to read some of it, and I read all of it. I'm going to read as much as I can. It says like this. Okay, Wings of Strength announces changes to grand prize allocation after 10th edition of Women's Bodybuilding Show. Okay, after much deliberation, reflecting, Wings of Strength made the difficult decision to reallocate the grand prize following the 10th edition of the highly celebrated women's bodybuilding event, the IFB Professional League Rising Phoenix. This move comes after triumphant return of the triumphant return of Miss Olympia competition in 2020, and a decade of continued efforts in supporting an effort that has shifted the landscape of female bodybuilding. And with the resurgence of Miss Olympia, need for the Rising Phoenix Women's Bodybuilding World Championships to serve as the pinnacle of female bodybuilding is no longer vital to the sport. As a result, we have made the strategic choice to reduce the show's IFB Professional League Women's Bodybuilding Prize funds and redirect our resources in ways that will continue to support and uplift women in the sport. In an effort to support women in all divisions, we have decided to redistribute the women's bodybuilding overall prize money to the disputed amongst all IFB League female divisions. Fuck that, okay? We are excited to continue offering opportunities for women to compete, grow, and shine in the sport, ensuring the legacy of our show lives for years to come. So here he says, while grand prize allocation is changing, the remain deeply committed to fostering the legacy of this event. Our show will continue to be essential platform of women in the divisions, providing a stage for athletes of backgrounds to showcase this their dedication, strength, and passion. Our focus also evolving to support the athletes at the show, growing heart of the sport, the NPC amateurs, as incentive. We will offer all our NPC Open overall winners free entry to several IFBB Pro qualifiers, including the Amateur Olympia in Las Vegas. This award amends to bring an amateur's bodybuilding career full circle, providing the opportunity to compete from an amateur stage to earning their IFB Pro card alongside the Mr. Olympia at the Joe Weider's Fitness and Performance Weekend, the most prestigious fitness industry contest event of the world. And here we end it off here. From the bottom of our hearts, thank for you all, the participants, fans, and supporters over the past decade. We look forward to what the future holds as we evolve with the ever-changing landscape of the sport, bodybuilding. About we just straight from me, I'm kind of real about this. I am. I've been watching, follow, and supporting We Just Strength for a long time. I mean, and it's just I understand now. Jake is focused on the business end of the sport. I understand that part. I understand, but it was for him and his wife Crystal at the time. They wouldn't be women's bodybuilding. So, folks, I'm gonna make an announcement today. It's one of my sticks anytime in my interviews. I will no longer say the chick. It's gone. I have to put the end to it. It's gone. I can't say Jake anymore like that. I do respect Mr. Woods and what he's doing to us, but I can't say it anymore. I can't say I want that money. I want that gun. He's not give the money, so you can keep the gun. So today I wouldn't also announce it on my Most Talk Monday also that will no longer in my interviews say call out Mr. Jake Woods thing like that. I just say Mr. Jake Woods. Appreciate you.
Okay.
So I'd like to get anybody's rebuttal on that and their thoughts.
I'm kind of going back to I'm wondering if they're redistributing the money because of the new division. I'm wondering if that's the overall goal. That's what I was thinking. I think they're doing it ahead of the game, but that's the plan. I'm wondering if that's what that's about.
That's a possibility. Like I said, it's going to take a while before it starts getting steam. But then I think what's going to do is that it's going to do pretty well when other companies and sponsorship on it because it fits a sort of a look. Because like I said, it's a division that anybody can get into.
Yeah.
And, so it wouldn't be that much. I think one thing you should most definitely do. You're going to receive the money. Shoot up the prize money for the first place for Miss Olympia and the other divisions. If like I said again, if the top 10 guy, the guy who's below sixth place makes more than the Miss Olympia champion, that doesn't make sense to me.
And also, how much of a redistribution are we talking about? I mean, can we get actual numbers here from them? Because, I mean, it's like the prize money, as I understand, is $50,000. You say you're going to take that out and you're going to redistribute it or spread it around, because I'm assuming he's talking about the Arizona Cup, which is like the other pro show that's attached to the Rising Phoenix for like all the other divisions, for all the female divisions. But we've heard about a reallocation, but can they flesh that out for us? What's it actually going to look like in terms of numbers? Because if we're talking like a reduction from 50,000 to like 10,000, like total prize money, right there you're taking away an incentive for a lot of women to show up. And as I understand it, also it's no longer an invitational.
Nope.
That's now changed as well. So it's not like they used to have where it's like they would decide as to who is going to show up. Now they're just opening it up to anybody. Is that the case?
I think that's the idea because with the Tampa gone, then you don't have women's bodybuilding at supposed to be at Texas, and I'm not so certain, but I'm hearing that we might not have it at Chicago either. I'm hearing rumblings. I'm not certain, but if you're losing shows, you got to find a way to add a show for the lineup. And technically, the Rising Phoenix was open, but you got to think about it. When you have the Miss Olympia champ and just about everybody who's already qualified for Olympia, and you may have 3 or 4 women who have not got their qualification, either win the show, then it's really, you don't really have a chance as a person if you want to get your Olympic qualification.
But now, am I right in saying that the Rising Phoenix is now no longer an invitational? Am I right about that?
I believe that's the thing.
Because I mean, right there, it's losing part of its prestige.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right there in the title, Rising Phoenix World Championship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's now just another pro show, I mean, the very fact that the World Championship being invited to that, I mean, adds to the prestige. You take away from it. I mean, what's in a title now? It just becomes another pro show. So not only it's like asks questions about what does this allocation actually look like in terms of prize money, because we know we're decreasing it now with the women bodybuilders. What are the other women's divisions going up to? So it's like they said they're redistributing it, but they didn't give any numbers. So it's like, what is this actually going to look like?
Oh, they didn't say that there would be like an even amount across all divisions?
They did, but it's like I'm looking at numbers here. It's like, what are we talking about? I mean, yeah, I understand the principle, but they've never given no data. They never said, okay, you're going to take $50,000, drop it down to what?
Mm-hmm.
And then what is it going to look like for the other divisions? They haven't said that.
You get not just $50,000. Also, Andrea, she won $25,000 because Angela won it. Then it was also, I think, 12,000 went to Ashley. I think who was fourth? Was it Michaela? I think she got like about 6,000-7,000. And then also you have those other prizes like best poser, most muscular, and also one thing is, my man Keith told me that they pay for the per diem and everything. They pay for to come out and fly out. They're paying for them, so that may be the other money, which is why they're taking that from. Those other things, like that's one thing what made the Arnold so popular, because it was invitational, and you could be invited. And that's what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be like a thing to, after getting kicked out of the Arnold, getting pushed out of the Olympia. It's supposed to have been that. But, and I've said it before, I feel like it should be open. Personally, just my thought, because it would be a great opportunity. But we all know, if you have the current Miss Olympia champion, and then second runner up, first runner up, and then ladies already who got their qualifications for the Olympia, it's not a really an open show, because you expect, hey, if I win, I get to go to Olympia through this show, but I'm not gonna get past Andrea. I'm not gonna get past Angela. Not get past those girls I couldn't even beat at a regular qualification show.
Wow.
What do you think, Eunice?
I'm on the other side of the table. From a business point of view, I see the business decisions that are being made as from a business point, because I'm experiencing a lot of that with bad rap. We begin with the intent to help a division, and the intent is out of generosity. But as a company, you do run into, okay, how much, a new company, when you first start, your write-off is for 5 years. And after that, then it's purely generosity. You're either going to be in the red, or you're either going to be, making it, breaking even, or making a profit. So at some point you have to decide, okay, what is my intent still the same? Am I still passionate about this like I was? What's the reception that I get from that audience, or from those, that group that I'm trying to support? You guys brought a good point up last week on Sunday's discussion about how the women itself aren't doing their part. I see it. There is a lot of egos in this sport. It's a me, is what I see. As a company that, for us, it's strictly generosity. My time, my dedication to helping this division has been just that, generosity. And there are very few out there who see the mission behind this work. They want to see it as, well, what do I get for this? Instead of, let's do it for the good of all. Let's be there so that we can generate some of our own funding so we don't have to depend on one particular person. Let's do it as a group. Let's do it as a whole. If someone could, put a post out there and just tag, they don't even have to be wearing the product, but just tag and get the brand out there as, and go viral. I mean, that would help the brand itself. But what I see is a lot of ego, and I don't see a lot of gratitude. And so I understand where Jake's thought process is, that it's time to move on. It's time to think about, hey, let's make some money, or let's open this up. Let's look at it in a different way. I've given enough to the women's bodybuilders, and now it's time to spread it. I can see them taking this show and replacing it, since the Tampa, is no longer offering women's bodybuilding. So I do see that as maybe him opening up this show to replace that show. At the same time, redistributing the money, we don't know. And honestly, since he's the one that funds it, it's none of our business as to him telling us what it is going to be right now. Because up until now, it's been generosity. He's helped the division come back. He's kept it alive. And now it's time for women to step up. It's time for...
Well, we have here a guest here who's been at both these shows, Tampa and the Rise of Phoenix. She is also a Masters Olympia qualified competitor, the lovely Miss Janine Lakowski. And, Janine, she's been a Wing Strength ambassador. She's competed at these shows, and she's seen it. She understands what's going on.
Hi,
hello, Janine. Hey. How you been doing?
Good. Sorry I was late. The weather's pretty bad here. So
that's all right. That's right. I tell everybody, come when you're ready.
Yeah. I totally understand everything that's going on. I mean, change does come. And when you're putting forth a lot of money all the time and they just take, and they never give back. I saw it firsthand on how some of the competitors were. Even with the ambassadors program that Jake started with us. I was grateful to be a part of it, and I worked my ass off for it. But I did see a lot of people take. And you only want to give so much before you kind of step back and say, I've got to reevaluate. And now you're also in charge of the Olympia as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on. About the Tampa Pro, yeah, I'm down this way, but I keep to myself right now. I'm dealing with some of my own stuff, but it's gone before and then come back again. So I'm not sure what's really going on with that part. Having the Wings of Strength with the Rising Phoenix stepping to a normal show. Is it a good move? I think it can be a good move. I think it will also open up more doors for other promoters to kind of step up and bring on female bodybuilding. I know that in Anaheim, it was a trial basis for that show that I did last year. And now he brought it back because he wanted to see what the female athletes were going to bring to the table. And it was a sold out event. Like there was only standing room in that show. And I was very grateful to be a part of that. And I made sure I asked, are you going to be able to bring us back? He said, yes, this was a test. So I think there's a lot of that kind of testing the waters out, but also we truly need to have someone be the voice of female bodybuilding. And we haven't had that in a long time. We used to have somebody represent female bodybuilding back in the day, and it's never come up again. So having somebody also getting the women to stand behind each other and support each other and get things going, I think is important as well. But yeah, it's a lot of me stuff. I mean, you have that in the men's as well, but a lot of the men support each other and help each other out. Women, I'm going to be fucking honest, and I'm going to say it just like this. They're catty as fuck. And I'm going to be straight because I come from two sides. I've seen it all. Yeah. I've seen it cutthroat backstage and then never spoke, all hugs and kisses, and then never anything after that. I'm one of the athletes that I'm exactly what I am, no matter if I'm on the stage or off the stage. I've never changed who I am. I've been true to who I am as an athlete and as representing the sport. And I have a lot of people coming up that are not quite there yet to step on the stage, but I'm always talking about bodybuilding. I'm always doing something. If I'm not on social media, I'm still doing it where I'm working. I'm promoting the sport and teaching people about how it's all about, what it's all about. It's not just about, hate to say this too, it's not all fucking tits and ass. It's hard work and dedication. I mean, it's about being passionate about what you do. Are you doing it because you want a pat on the back from somebody? Or are you doing it because you love the sport? And I think that's too, as another thing that the signals are crossed, is a lot of people do it because they want that gratification, put up that post and they want all these likes. They think that's what's going to get them up there. That's not what's going to make you famous. Your hard work and your legacy is going to make you famous, and famous in where you are, in your life. It's not all bells and whistles. You have to do it because you love it. Not because you're going to get a pat on the back and you're going to get, all these comments on your post. That's not what it's about. Back in the day when I started, we were in magazines and it never came out until after we competed. So everything was totally backwards. But I mean, shit, that's just how it was. I just found all my magazines that I was in. But I found that was more important to me, getting in a magazine, something printed, than being on social media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's kind of like,
you put the time in, you did it, right? But I think there's a lot of things changing. Like, why isn't Andrea Shaw and Angela talking about everything going on? I'm just being honest. If you're the top tier athletes, you should be out there saying stuff and talking about stuff and helping others coming up. Yes, they have the Triple O. I mean, it's coming, this weekend coming, I think.
This weekend.
Yeah. So, I mean, yes, that's a big show, but hopefully they talk about it there at that show.
Yeah. And the thing about Triple O was it supposed to have been like a show that really was supposed to representing women's bodybuilding figure. Physique is going to have this year because Natalia's now moved on. She's promoting and I think sponsoring a show in Brazil. And yeah, because, that's her country of her origin, well, her family's origin, because I think she was born in New York, I was told. And, we as the people like myself, like me and Jeremy, we're outsiders. And we see women's bodybuilding, we're family division for a long time. We see it go through this thing again like it did back in 2012 to 2014 when you're dropping from the shows. You remember at one point you had to switch divisions.
Yeah, they told me to switch.
Yeah. And then, one thing that helped me when we switched divisions, it changed the effect of physique. Because if you look at it now, some of those women who either came down from women's body to physique affected it. And then you have women in figure who look like they should go up, but I know what outside here that they don't feel like they want to do that because they feel comfortable where they're at. But as divisions evolve over time, as athletes build muscle and develop, then why now is it important to keep a division there where there can be a place for a division for a competitor to go when they feel like I've outgrown this? But it's up to the competitor. What's something I heard.
And the other thing too, I don't mean to butt in there, but the other thing too is back in the day that the IFBB used to send us emails telling us what their criteria was for that division. I haven't seen that in 10 years. I remember when they said, we want female bodybuilding 10% less muscle, so you look more feminine, What they need to do is they need to do that again as well. Is communicate with the athletes as to what the athletes need to come in looking like. Yes, we want to come in what we look like, but what are the criteria? Every year, things change. The athletes are getting bigger. Bring them down. They're in control of what happens on the stage. They are the people that are in control of what happens with judging. So then send out a newsletter. I want you guys, women's physique, I don't want you being, they said they didn't want striated glutes, but they still come in striated glutes. So why aren't they reprimanding? You know what I'm saying? Or why aren't they sticking to the rules? We have the rules on the website. Now make it come out to the athletes. This is what we want. This is what we this is what we want to see, yada, yada, yada. But the judges have to follow that suit too.
And they're not.
Tyler and them have to send out those emails. I haven't seen an email. Only just what's happened in the shows. Well, that's great. What do you want to see from us as athletes representing the IFBB? That's what needs to be done. They need to go back to where the roots started and how the Manions had it all set out before. And even prior to that, it was newsletters that would come out to us and tell us what they wanted for that division. And we would have to follow suit. Mm-hmm. None of that's being done. It's all this now.
Yeah. And because I have Nicole here, she competes in OCB, and y'all rules are different compared to if you look at NPC and IFBB.
Mm-hmm. He's talking to Nicole.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was talking to my son, so I turned the mic off.
That's all right. But I said this.
The look for I did one NPC show before I switched over to OCB, and that was back in 2019. I did another OCB show last year, but the look between OCB and NPC is completely different. Mm-hmm. I think stage lean for figure OCB, I could probably compete at an amateur level in bikini in NPC. It's only because of I'm not that big. Like I see how figure competitors, like back when I first started doing it, so now figure competitors have gotten really big. And I agree with what you're saying. It's like these athletes, because the last Olympia I went to see the show was in 2022. From 21 to 22, the athletes had gotten so much bigger. I was like, how do these athletes get big in just 1 year? Like figure competitors, they're quads are humongous and really shredded. I'm like, that's not really what the look is supposed to be.
Yep.
But they're allowing athletes to get bigger, not saying anything, and they're awarding athletes for getting bigger. So they're gonna continue to get bigger. So now no one really knows what the criteria is. So if I were to go on the website, because the website tells you, they don't send us letters either. You go on the website, they say, okay, this is what figure is supposed to look like. So now if I go up there and look like a women's physique athlete, I'll probably still win. Why? Because I came in the most muscular. I don't know. That's not what figure really is about. It's not the most shredded and the most muscular. Mm-hmm. That's specific criteria. But you're right. If they're not telling you, if they're not enforcing the rules, then what do? That's not fair. Even crossover.
And crossover is a whole other can of worms there.
Yeah.
Because obviously, when you cross over, they're bringing in figure into physique, and they're doing the long poses in all the divisions, and they're mixing it in, and then you're wondering why a figure girl is doing a lat spread or a frontal bicep. Like, hello, I talk to the judges on a regular basis. I mean, I don't think there should ever be crossovers. Mm-hmm. I know why they
agreed.
Do that.
Totally agreed.
I agree with that too. I hate crossovers.
For two different shows at the same day. You can't fucking do it. And I won't let my do it.
But we know why they have crossover, because the promoters make money from the entry fees. Because you got to think about it.
Their show look like they have 400 competitors when they really only have maybe 150 competitors.
Exactly.
Because I interviewed a lady who got 3 pro cards at the North Americans. 2 of them were in figure and 1 was a physique.
That's not fair.
And
They're taking away
exactly. Taking away from somebody else could have gotten that. Like, say somebody crosses over from physique, she's a physique athlete, but then she crosses over to figure, and then she wins. That's not fair, because a figure competitor who fits the criteria could have gotten that pro card. So it shouldn't go to the woman that has a woman's physique body. So I think that's completely unfair. I don't like crossovers either.
Right. Here's a great example. I just saw a girl. Now, bear in mind, this woman's got a bodybuilder physique. Okay, when I mean women's bodybuilding, not WPD, not wellness, not bikini, any of this. This girl in the same show with a bodybuilder's physique entered into bikini, wellness, figure, physique, and bodybuilding, won 3 of the 5.
I've seen that happen too.
Won 3 of the 5.
Two shows.
How the hell is that possible?
Yeah,
That shouldn't even, that's with a bodybuilder physique, you won bikini. How does that happen?
Yeah.
How the hell does that happen? And then, Janine, to your point, when you say they come out with that, even when they come out with these notifications, they're still not consistent.
Yeah,
Like when they came out with the 20% rule in 2004, we want to see a 20% reduction in muscularity. Very next year, who wins the Miss Olympia? Yakseni Orikin, one of the biggest, most muscular women on the planet. If anybody, according to this ruling, shouldn't have won that show, it was her. She did. She beat Iris for that year. To give you ideas to the proportions we're talking about, it's like even when they do come out with these memos, they're not being faithful to it. Because on the one hand, they're saying they want to see a reduction, and everybody from Heather Armbrust to Diana Cadeau has said since they've retired, when they went to the Olympia, they keep hearing the same thing: bigger, bigger, bigger. Even when these memos come out saying, so you got the judges saying one thing, and get the higher up saying something else.
Yeah, everyone.
That's got to end. We got to get some consistency.
Yep, there needs to be a nice meeting here where everybody comes in, the judges and the promoters and the IFBB all have to be in there on the same page.
You know, it would be nice if at least one show was consistent every year. And I bet if that show was consistent, they would have more and more participation.
Yep.
Yeah. Like one point is like, if you look at this debate that some people like, one guy who, the guy who promotes the muscle contest as Tamer, his brother Tariq, he feels like this year possibly Natalia Kovaleva could probably win the Miss Olympia.
We're not going to go there again. Stop bringing that up, George.
Hey, but George, you know how come, right? You know how come, right? He's got a big package on top.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about muscle. and that sells, you know?
Yeah.
Again, that's not what sport's about.
So that's what the sport has become about, you know, TNA. So, you know, award a champion that has some, some big, shelf on top.
And rack and nothing else.
And you know, that brings attraction. So, you know.
Yeah, because the thing is, I did it, was it, Jay was here, we did it, was it last week we talked about this. And I shared it with everybody, posted, and I got a lot of comments for everybody. And here the thing is, it's just a suggestion. Could we take somebody who looks like someone like Shara Priyami or Ashley Young or Andrea or Mela Ash or Chelsea Dion or even Natalia and post them up as the symbol for the division? That's just a suggestion. Not against any other ladies. It's just a suggestion. But everybody just got. But you know what? I told people if you have a problem, you got something you want to say, come on here. But this is how I'm gonna like this. I'm quote from my man, an old school wrestler we're a fan of, the Captain Red Dick Murdoch. You want to say all that talking, but then you act like a bunch of yellow belly egg sucking dogs. That's what I'm saying. Here we got my man, shout out to my man KL. It says, "Hey everyone, thank you, brother." Okay. Yeah, he says, and forgive me with misspelling, but hi everyone. That's all right, brother. Brother, there's a link if you want to jump in. You're welcome to jump in. I know you just interviewed a few minutes ago, and you're welcome. But yeah, that's how the thing is. It's easy when somebody say like, well, the men should say nothing, yeah. But who's gonna be? Most of the fans are men, and if we're not the ones saying anything, if the women are not gonna say anything, who's gonna do something? It took a man and his wife to try to save women's bodybuilding. That's Jake Wood. And I just announced that I'm not going to say my Monica welcome to Jake because I respect what he's doing, but I just I'm not But here we go. We get here. You just popped in, my man KL the Wanderer coming in, brother.
How you doing? What's going on?
Yeah, right. Yeah. He has a comment here. He said this. He said, "They two chicken shit, George."
I got that from a movie.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
mean, I mean, there's some truth to it. I mean, if you saying stuff behind the comments, and then, you know, I kind of understand people are busy, but it's like everybody's busy, or you know, they got stuff to do. You know, like nobody can just come and just say what they got to say instead of being in the comments, and because there'd be a lot of people that be on the comments, especially when he posts stuff. So, you know, that's my thoughts on it. It's just odd that, you know, you hear all these opinions on Instagram, but then when it's like a opportunity is set for you, you don't want to show up. But it is what it is. I don't know everybody's situation, but you know, that's just my thoughts.
It's a lot of, I think, politics too. People are afraid to put their faces out there. That's why you only had one Martin Luther King. You only had one Jesus Christ. Because people are scared to jump out there and give their opinions about things because they're scared it's going to take away from what they do. Me personally, I'm an amateur athlete, but Eunice has helped me out a lot. And I like to listen to a lot of the old school women that have been in the business for a long time because they were there when all these other divisions didn't exist. So they were in the trenches with the guys trying to get on stage. Now you got all these different divisions. So I like listening to those ladies because they keep me grounded. They're like, hey, we were there when none of this was going on. You know, this is what you need to do. I know Eunice is giving me some really good advice on how to handle and do certain things. I know for me, I got the size. I just need to get lean, like super freaky lean. And that's my problem. I'm working on it this year. But, you know, just even having someone to mentor you, that means a lot to me, having a mentor, someone to keep you out of your head, but also keep you grounded enough where you love the sport, but you don't get caught up in all the hoorah.
Yeah, I just interviewed Michelle Brent just last week. Lady been in the game for nearly 40 years. I call her one of the handful of women who is a true women's bodybuilder. She had never did bikini, figure, or physique. True women's bodybuilders. Only a few women have done that. That's Hella, Irene. I think I saw Patty Corbett might be competing in Masters, and that's one lady. There's only a handful of women that have been constantly women's bodybuilding. Because you look at like people like Mayla was figure, and she went to physique and went to women's bodybuilding. Ashley Jones, Sherry Priami. You know, I think, you know, some ladies who started out bodybuilding and switched back. One lady I'm really cool with, Melly Horton, and she sent me a link to a young lady who is in the future. You know, she just did the show. Was it the Detroit Pro? Her name is Sandra. I reached out to her. I'm hoping maybe I can get her on for an interview in the future. And it was her bodybuilding debut. She was the only competitor there. And I remember, I think it was during the conversation, my big Keith, you know, Andrea was there. And if she's there, okay, why not maybe next year, you know, and you have names like Andrea, and also you have people like, you know, can't forget, you know, Linda Murray, also Iris Kyle from the area, who can possibly, if they can, maybe speak up and say, hey, let's add women's bodybuilding to the show next year. And my man Jeremy just returned.
Wasn't there one in Detroit? Wasn't there a female bodybuilding show?
Hi
in Detroit?
guys, sorry about that. The weather's getting really bad around here, so
Yeah,
it decided to cut out.
Indiana.
Glad to have you back, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we say about Janine?
I thought we had a female bodybuilding show in Detroit, but that was Indiana.
Yeah. That was the Indiana Pro that one year.
That
That guy
year you took it out.
Yeah, because that was the year Teresa won that show, and she got a qualification. And then I think the guy who was promoter of that, I know my friend Janine. She was not Jada. She was really pushing for that because she lives in Ohio, and they talked to the guy, and then you see Edwin's bodybuilding, and it was her and the name I do not speak. They were doing a press tour about it. You know, they talked about it. They were on the Fifth Physique Friday one day, and it was her and the name I do not speak. You know who I'm talking about if you know me, you know. But yeah, if they can add women's bodybuilding to that show, and I know a lot of ladies, like there's women from Chicago, Canada, Michigan right there, you know, not too far from other parts where they probably would love to do a show that'll be closer to them. Like, the opportunity's there, but it just needs somebody to put up the money and the sanction fees to take care of all that's needed to promote that show.
Well, if they split up the men's money, I mean, why are the men getting triple what we make?
They're not going to do that. You know that.
Well, that's not going to change, y'all. And I think for the future, if we're going to make a change, we've got to work with what we have, not on what we wish we had, but on what we have and how we want to make it change and what we have to do. There has to be a plan, and we're never going to get anywhere if all we do is just, gripe about how the men get more. That's always going to, that's just life. The world of duality.
I didn't have a plan. I'm just a dog chasing cars.
So the planning stage begins with, someone grouping together, bonding together, maybe other women entrepreneurs. I've came out and said we need other women entrepreneurs to get together. Let's back each other up. Whether it's just pitching in to come up with the 10,000 for a sanctioning, then that's the beginning.
So, quick question. Let me ask you, all of us, would you be down to I don't know anything about promoting a show, but all of us have similar concerns about what we deem to be fair and to be unfair in bodybuilding. Why don't we do something? Why don't we promote our own show? I know it sounds crazy. I'm down to raise money. I'm down to help with funding. I'm really good at saving money. It sounds crazy, I know, but why not? It doesn't always start with an idea. So why don't we promote our own show where we can set the criteria, and not with the judges we're gonna follow the rules. You can't be humongous. You can't cross over. You're not gonna have a bodybuilding physique and then win in bikini. No, we're not doing that. So would you guys be down for that, or it's just to advocate for women? Because we have our concerns, and I don't know. I think all of us are on the same page. Like I said, I don't know about how to go about promoting the show, but I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing to, all right, now this is my complaints. Now I want to do something about it.
Doing a workshop and kind of.
Doing the show. No, actually promoting the show.
Well, for one thing is if you don't say for instance, us pros like Janine and I that have the IFBB Pro cards, we have to stay and compete within our league because otherwise, if we move into another league and compete, we lose our pro status with the IFBB. So that's a big issue concern with pro bodybuilders in the league. Another thing is you have to make it attractive enough, yes, so that someone would be coming over to just compete. So it would have to be, if you wanted to have the competitors that you have now in the Miss Olympia, it would have to be something, yes, like a workshop or like a practice or something like that, but still, I don't know. That's just something that an issue that would be that would come up.
It would probably have to be. I personally would like to see a women's bodybuilding workshop where I know I'm in Texas, so me and Eunice, we're in Texas, but something like maybe in Dallas or something, because there's a lot of competitors here in Texas. But I know they do the workshops where they do the posing classes.
Well, if you were to do that, I would do it, but it would be a paid event. It's not going to be a free event.
Oh no, for sure. I think you should pay because I think you should.
I'm not having judges.
Oh yeah, no. I would
look at something because I'm working on something right now, actually, like a workshop down here in the Tampa area.
Okay.
Learning how to understand how to build your own training program and all that kind of stuff for you to be on stage if that's your goal.
See, and I think that's a good idea.
That kind of stuff.
Even knowing what suits best for your body, hairstyles, even basic things like that, because
I can start working on something.
Yeah, I think I think people should be compensated. That's your time, and it costs to drive somewhere and get a building, all of that.
Yeah, and have meals prepared.
Yeah, I agree. It should be. I mean, people pay for other things. Why not charge for that? I think it is a good learning experience.
Because there's a lot to learn.
There is.
There's a lot I can talk about.
Yeah.
Also, if you can, invite the press, and the press has to pay. Hey, or maybe no, let the press pay because the press still want to pay. If you can break them in and say, hey, we might need some press conference. You don't have to be bodybuilding, just maybe the local news.
Yeah.
We talked about this. Maybe bring in somebody who's like a non, kind of bodybuilder associated sports person in there to maybe to give their thoughts, also to maybe to really show really show the show. Like, the competitors come to pay and they come to give their foods and get their education and really open it up to the opportunities. And then also you can add a show to it which you want to compete and see how you do, how you look. And then most definitely as amateurs, you have to pay because that's the way you make the money.
And then here's the criteria for your division, because people do need to know that, because unfortunately you do have some trainers out there that put their people in each division. They'll just slam them in somewhere, and you shouldn't do that. If your competitor is a bikini competitor, they need to do bikini. If your competitor is a physique competitor, don't try to, we're going to see where you fall. No. Now, it might be a little bit where you may have a physique competitor and she might look bodybuilding, but as a trainer, you should be like, okay, this is the criteria for this one, but this is the criteria for that one.
Like you're missing lats or you're missing this.
Exactly. And I think that type of workshop and that would be, I think it would open a lot of people's eyes to learn
Honestly, drop me an email or an Instagram.
Okay.
And drop me a message and I'll get working on something.
Oh yeah, I think that's an excellent idea. I've been
working on some workshops in the back office here, just getting together and just finding the right time.
If you want, I can send in your email because I got it. And you want to?
Yeah, just send it. Send it out, George, and then we'll do that. Because I think I would like to even just come see, and even if it's just me out there passing out flyers, or I would like to help out. I'll get is to be a pro. That's my goal. So I want to see all the behind the scenes too.
Honestly, we've been at it for so long. Sometimes we forget some of those things.
Yeah, you got a lot of people out there.
Questions and stuff. I can have the answer right away.
And then you got a lot of people out there. Yeah, they have trainers, but there's a lot of things they're missing. I've talked to a lot of girls, females. Are like, oh, I didn't know this. My trainer didn't tell me this, or I didn't know that. My trainer didn't tell me. But I think if there's an actual workshop where they can get that missing information and some things you could piece together for yourself, I think it's a great idea.
How to save the money and get everything together.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, as you know, there was early this month where there was a situation. We had a young lady that passed away, and that was sad. She was just she was 20 years old. That was Jody Vance. And then I saw this was posted by, and he's not my favorite person in the world, Tyler Mannion, and he put this up. And I want to get your thoughts on this, if you have heard of it already.
I haven't seen it yet.
Pro League Vice President, and today I'm excited to announce our official collaboration with NASM to bring a coaching certification for the NPC and IPB Professional League for the United States and Canada. Now, why did we decide on this collaboration with NASM? Because we want to emphasize health and safety for our athletes. This certification ensures that coaches are equipped with the knowledge to prioritize the well-being of their athletes and still give them essential strategies to make them look their best on stage while doing it in a way that is healthy for everybody. Now, this is very
Okay, I heard it now.
Very important for us. We want the journey for everybody to be
I don't know why he didn't pick the
best journey possible. In the future, we will have.
I don't know why he didn't pick the IFBB Pro PTA to be the people that certified, because it's all the pros that are certified under that. Chris Cormier, Charles Glass, all of us.
Is it a nationally approved, accredited?
Yeah, it's bigger than ISSA. The Pro PTA is the biggest certification you can get.
I still think,
but that's not the gold standard. I mean, think about who creates the guidelines for the personal training certifications. Who follows? Whose guidelines does everybody follow? It's the American College of Sports Medicine. That's the professional. That is the gold standards. They create the protocols for the medical field. So they're going to have to stand behind someone who uses the guidelines of the American College of Sports Medicine, because then we enter into the lawsuit. liability.
Let me just look it up.
I still think though that that goes back to having a somebody that you can talk to, because like that goes back to what is Janine.
Yep.
Okay, I've got these glasses and still can't see, but it goes back to what you were saying earlier about what are you in it for. A lot of these younger people they're impressionable. They get on stage and they get 1,000 likes, and a lot of them start thinking they're coaches. They start thinking they're this, and then they do the whatever they do. But I still think you need a mentor to keep you grounded. I think that goes back to me with mentoring, because also mentor can check your mental health. They may not get in all your business, but they can tell when something's a little, not right or going on with you. And you may need a friend to tell you, hey, you might need to take a year or two off and get yourself together.
Yeah.
Don't take all this stuff because you want to look like this person. You need to figure out who you are and why are you in the sport. I remember when I started, the first thing I got asked is, why do you want to do this? What are you in here for? What is it? What's it all about? So, yeah, I would like to see definitely the workshop for sure.
Okay. We can work on that for sure.
Because the thing is, I think it's a deal that it probably works for both, but I'm hearing some people saying because it's going to be more of a expense, especially get certificated as a coach. But here what it does, it will probably force out bad coaching. People don't understand all the aspects of when they do for the athletes, instead of just pushing gear and pushing people on the stage. Like I said, Jody, I'm gonna pull up here in a bit. This was she was somebody's daughter, 20 years old. And I understand, she wanted to compete. And she's going to be my child. I'm 50, she's 20. This is somebody's, child right here. And she shouldn't have died, But the thing is, it's also up to the athletes about questioning their coaches. Sometimes I understand often that you trust your coach, but at the same time, you should also follow your own instinct. And then sometimes you need people to really point you out what's the truth. I mean, my heart and condolences goes out to her family. She has a twin sister, so and that's a close bond out from her. It's just she's not around, but I don't know what could have been done. Maybe, as I said again, education. We talk about education is important because you need to learn what is involved in. Like I say, when I talk to you ladies in the interviews, you tell me what you go through: the tired, dehydration, sometimes you're getting brain fog because you don't have enough carbons in your system, and just all that's involved to be a competitor. And like I said, with someone like Nicole, even with her, she does natural. That's just as hard as her, because you're trying to build a body without using peptides or performance enhancers.
And taking your time. I mean, I've been competing 14 years and I'm still not a pro, but I'm also not trying to be an overnight success either. I want to take my time. I want my body to grow into that. And I think what happens, not talking bad about any coaches or nothing, but some coaches, if you got a girl that's 70 or 80 pounds and you want her to be 150 in a year, there's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a big problem. You shoving all this stuff for her to get that big because she's went to a show and saw women's physique or bodybuilding, but she's tiny and she's a bikini competitor. But I want to be women's bodybuilding next year, or I want to be women's physique. As a coach, you need to go, whoa, that's you. Let's kind of pump the brakes here and let's figure something out. Then you go into the diet aspect of it, and you go into, and as a competitor yourself, you have to use a little bit of common sense too. If somebody's telling you to do certain things and red flags going around in your head, you need to listen to your common sense.
Yeah,
Ask questions.
You're right. Full disclosure, when I was competing with NPC, I already had a pretty decent physique to start out with because I was very athletic. So my coach at the time was kind of, I guess, pushing me in that direction, saying that, if you don't do this, there's no way you're gonna win. So I'd gotten really depressed. I went to a deep depression. I didn't compete for 5 years because of it. not because of what she said. I was like, but no, I shouldn't have. In my mind, I didn't say anything, but I was like, I shouldn't have to do that. I don't want to do that. And I'm not taking away from anybody else that does it. You know, to each his own. It is a choice, but I just didn't. I didn't want to do it. I just thought, you know, it was just I was just scared of what could have happened, might have happened. You know, maybe nothing would have happened, but I didn't want to do it. So
yeah, and you used your judgment, but that goes back to your coaches. If you have a really good coach, they're going to tell you, hey, you know, this is your choice. Competing is your choice. What you want to do is your choice. I'm not going to shove anything down your throat. I'm not going to make you do anything, but also I'm not going to berate you into doing something that you're not comfortable with.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly. My coach is cool. I think because my coach asked me before we even started training for my last show. She goes, "What do you want to do? Do you want to be natural, or do you want to be enhanced?" She asked him, and she gave me the options. No, she wanted to see where my head was at. I said, "No, I said I want to do it naturally." But I was going to compete in an NPC show. But then I saw an OCB show was in Brooklyn where I live. I was like, all right, I'll do OCB. No, I went to the show. I liked it. I love the energy. So then I just went over to OCB. So I mean, that was a very personal choice. Like everybody has.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. So it was a very personal choice. But yeah, with coaches, you're right. Like you're allowed to question. You're allowed to question your doctor if you don't feel something's right or you feel off about something. You're allowed. And if your doctor's telling you something you don't want to hear, if you don't agree with your doctor, guess what? You can always get another one. You're entitled to get another person's opinion until you feel, you know, you feel comfortable with because I think any decision you make, ultimately, that is your decision.
Yes,
no one
it
can
is.
Force you. You really can't blame anybody. You got to make a decision that's right for you. So you're right about some coaches. You're right. They'll do one show. All of a sudden, the coaches now they have all this experience. Like, no, you're not a coach. To me, that's not a coach. You know, I want to see credentials too, like certificate. I want to see this or notice this person has credentials. They know about nutrition, especially if they're training me to compete in the show.
Yeah, you don't want a cookie cutter diet. You talk to somebody else that has the same coach, and you might be a bodybuilder, but they're bikini, but y'all are eating the same food.
Yeah,
there's a problem right there. Or y'all are both taking the same whatever you're doing, enhancement or not, and you're like, you know. So yeah, you have to ask questions. I mean, and it's just like with anything. If you're paying a coach, that's a service that you're paying them for. If you're not hearing from them, if they're not responding to you, if they're not responding to your question, you need to start questioning, do I want to keep this person? It's your prerogative and choice who you pick as a coach. And if you don't want to be with that person, you can change. If you're paying them and they're not doing anything for you, then you need to question that too.
Here we got comment from man Curtis L. Jr. Shout out to Curtis. And he says she had a future and it was taken from her, tragic and sad. Yeah. Well, like I said again, she had a future, but also she made choices that she should have made better for herself. But education would have helped a lot better.
Yeah, for sure. Education for sure. A lot of people are educated in the industry. You get these young, like I said, a lot of young people coming up. All they see is the muscle and the IG and the other. They don't see a lot of the hard work that a lot of people have put into it.
She from what I understand, before she was bodybuilding, I know she was binge eating, and I just know a little bit of knowledge about that, but that's kind of obsessive behavior as well. And then she's doing this. That's a bit extreme, and of course that's gonna happen, if nobody's not with her. So,
Well, but do people understand that her own coach posted on IG that she took 2 extreme diuretic protocols without his knowledge? That she basically, according to the coach, he said she did this to herself. He didn't promote, he didn't encourage this, he didn't do anything of the kind. This is according to him. Whether or not that's true or not, I have no idea. But that's what he said. But also, according to what Tyler said, if you were so damn concerned about the athletes, what about Sean Roden? What about Dallison Carver? Where was this concern then? Lena Hatvani, when she died, it shows. You're so damn concerned about people. You knew what was going on then, and you did nothing. And you're coming out and saying that you're about health and such like that. Where the hell was this then? Where was it then? You know what's going on. You know what's happening here. And then it's like, even if they do get this certification, what does that do to curtail gear and diuretic prescriptions from these same coaches?
Nothing.
How does that stop it? What does that do?
And what are they going to do? How are they going to? Are they going to control that? If you're going to have a team and you're going to be a coach, you have to have that certification. I mean, how are they going to regulate that?
Right.
The basic, the person, the amateur who's just getting started, they see someone else in their gym and they start to ask, hey, you know, who's a good coach, or what would I do? And that's where, you know, it's all bro science that they learn things from. And how are you going to regulate that? So for someone you may have a certification there, but I'm going to tell you, I've been a personal trainer for, my God, I've owned a gym for 37 years.
Yeah.
All these years that I've been a personal trainer, I have never had one client ask me, who's the certifying agency that certified you? No one has ever asked me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All they want is results.
Yep.
They want results.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's just the double edge of the sword. You know, you can say it's her fault or accept your part that you are her coach and trainer. You should pay attention. Like, off my favorite quote is, beware surroundings at all times. You know, that's what you should be aware. If you know your athlete is taking bad protocols, you know, because this is somebody you with and you work and you train, you with them about every other day. You should pay attention to these things. And like I said, she's young, and young people are impressible.
Very.
Yeah. They see something that, you know, like I said, you want to be like this, like a piece of hot and ready, fresh right there. No, it takes time. And sometimes you don't have the patience to take that time.
They'll walk around the gym, see somebody muscular. That person might be 40 or 50 years old and has done it for 30 or 40 years. And they think, oh, I'm 18 or 19. I should look like that overnight. No, it doesn't work that way. You know, if you want longevity, you know, you have to tell them about longevity. I mean, a lot of the young guys, they come up to my husband in the gym. And now my husband's been doing it since he was 14 or 15. And, you know, and they're like, oh, and he's like, I've been doing this a long, long time. You need to take your time. You need to be a kid. You need to, you know, grow into your body. You're still developing. You're still growing. Don't start doing things that's going to mess you up 4 or 5 years from now. Just enjoy being young.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, being young, dumb, and full of it.
Yeah, and then don't rule out the influence of social media influencers.
Oh yeah, my God.
Especially the younger ones who are the same age as these people.
Yeah.
Coming out with all this quack bro science, like you were saying, Eunice, saying, oh, will I do this, or oh, will I do that?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than actually listen to the people who know what they're talking about, they'll listen to these people who are basically getting sponsored by these companies to go and say this sort of thing in order to move their products. And it's like, the influencers now probably have more influence than the actual trainers at the gym.
Yeah, but
so.
Yep.
Oops.
Uh-oh.
Looks like we just lost George.
Oh no, George.
He'll come back.
You know, IG or social media, you know, it's a double-edged sword, because there's a lot that comes from social media, but then at the same time, you know,
we're doing so fine. What's going on?
New,
there she is. There he is.
Yeah,
it's all about influencers, and it's about the following, and well, they only have so many followers, but this one has, you know, 1 million followers, so they must know what they're talking about. And you know, it's a double-edged sword. It's a different world now than what it used to be. Just like Janine was saying, magazines was our only educator back then. I mean, we used to run to the 7-Eleven just to go get the first, you know, the edition for that month.
Right.
And the information there, it was sound. I mean, that was really what they were doing, and you depended on that. And we didn't have, I don't remember there being all these, you know, deaths like there is now.
No.
Well, like I said, you know, we get it with your lady. Her name is Lisa Sagan, and she talked about this, how she's from Australia. Now she notices, it has, because mostly it's not from steroid use, it's from speed hydration. Because when you deny your body a lot of fluids, your heart will stop. That's what would kill you, more or less, dehydration. What happened with Helenia, and also just basic maintenance and care. Some people don't even go to the hospital or doctor regularly like they should. I have an appointment coming up next month because I have a pacemaker. I gotta in maybe a few months. I also gotta go to see my cardiac guy and make sure I gotta check my pacemaker. Right now I'm talking to a doctor about checking out my knees because because they're going bad on me. But yeah, you should always take care of yourself because in the long run, if something happens to you, this sport's going to keep on continuing. It's going to keep on.
Exactly. Your mental health too. You're not feeling right mentally. Hey, I know when my dad, he just passed away last month, and I was prepping for a show, and I didn't think he was going to die that soon. But my coach was like, "Hey, take off during the holidays." He said, "Spend that time with your dad." He said, "You don't know how long he's going to be here. It's going to be a show from here to whenever. But your parents and your family, you won't have them always." And I'm glad I did, because Thanksgiving, I had a big old family dinner. My dad was there. He had a good time. We got pictures. We did a lot of family stuff. And so when he passed last month, and I talked to my coach, "Oh, thank you." And I said, "I think I'm ready now." He said, "Yeah, you ready now because you had a lot of responsibility." He said, "That's what I wanted you to focus on, is dad." He said, "Not these shows. It's going to be a show every weekend." He said, "Your dad is only going to be here so long." So you have to have that. I could have had a coach that was like, "Hey, no, you need to snap out of it. That's going to happen." But he was like, "No, get yourself together, spend the time with your family, and it'll always be a show later."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's.
I gotta head out, ladies.
Thank
you for
y'all. Y'all keep me posted. I definitely want to know about if you do, like, y'all do a workshop or something, even if I'm just helping out, like, hey, you go stand out there and do something. I want to participate.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, appreciate for Jeremy's time, and also shout out to Bev. I hope she does well, and and condolences to her father, because I know how it is. My father passed away 10 years ago. Really, I was close with my mom. It's gonna be 6 years this summer. That was my woman. I took care of her, and this was something that was helping me with. So I was taking care of her, and I enjoyed my time where I went, because you don't have one mother. Women, like Wired Up said in the movie, Wired Up. Women go away. You either run off or you die. But all you got in the end of the day is your family. So I know I quote a lot of Westerns. I like Westerns. I can't help it. But yeah, shout out to our guests. One thing I want to, while we're here, is this is a shout out to a lady because this lady, I still thank you for this. I love it and hug it and she has.
That's a big mistake, Eunice.
Hey, shut up.
That's a big mistake. You don't know how to act, man.
I'm telling you, I built this shit. Me.
Every interview, like, you want to hit him across the paper with that. Hit him across the head with that magazine every time.
Well, like my other guy says, if you get us something, son, you never give it free. But this is also the good shot, because this is peak week for the Triple O Pro. Shout out to Andrea, Whitney Jones, also to Sydney Gillen for giving their divisions opportunity to still have a fighting chance in the IFBB, especially when bodybuilding. And I did this little post for you go to my IG, you would see it. And it was from an interview we did the last time we did this. I think it was like a couple months ago. It was I had to break it because I was having issues again before, like I had a while ago. I need to get something on the computer or just get a better Wi-Fi. And this is a little video that I cut for her, and just just show appreciation. And you can go check it out on my IG, and also support the Bad Rap. Shout out to also her partner Jolene, Floops, who is also part of it. So we're gonna pull it up here.
As Bad Rap been doing, I saw they're going to get some good. I saw they're going to be getting some good representation at the Triple O.
Yes, we
are.
What
I can see.
Yeah. What we did is we contributed towards the prize money for the women's bodybuilding, and so we also got Alex Andrews, who wanted to sponsor one of our varsity jackets for the winner of the women's bodybuilding. And then we're also going to be giving one of our Bad Rap varsity jackets to the figure champion. So we're excited about that. Like you said, lots of representation. So we're excited.
So as you know, Triple O coming up this Saturday the 5th. The prize money for women's bodybuilding is $7,000. That's probably the most prize money outside of what used to be the Rising Phoenix and the Olympia for women's bodybuilding for one show. And also for figure, it is $9,000. And that's a pretty good chunk of change. I think actually the Pittsburgh Pro is $10,000 for figure. And Andrea, as you know, I'm a fan of, and here she is. I had to share with you my
What's up, guys? Wow, we are fastly approaching peak week. Can you believe it? It's like almost here. But as promised, we've got some exciting news about the show for the athletes. So, number one, for every single male NPC athlete that walks away as an overall winner, yours truly is going to give you a gift certificate, and you will receive an order for a new pair of trunks of your choice. So this is going to be taken care of by Bikini Lab Design Studio. They are absolutely amazing. I've been working with them for many years now, but they will be personally responsible for making sure that you guys get suited for new trunks. So whether you're moving on to a national level show or you've got another NPC show that you're going to be competing in throughout the year, then you are going to receive a gift certificate, and we are super happy about that for our guys. Secondly, we are also going to be entering into a raffle. Every single overall winner to get you a paid entry fee into Junior Nats. So Junior Nats is going to be held on June the 20th. And again, we're taking care of your entry fee. Again, sponsored by yours truly. We want to give back to the athletes and show you guys that, hey, we're going to honor your hard work. So keep those things in mind. The raffle will take place on the day of the show. So you guys, we are super excited to announce these things. And lastly, housekeeping items for our pros. Make sure that you have your contracts in no later than this Monday, which is March the 31st. We got to make sure that that's taken care of, guys. Secondly, for housekeeping items, all of our NPC athletes, the online registration closes on April the 2nd. April the 2nd, online registration is closed. So please, you guys, it's the weekend. We know we're going into peak week. Get it off your plate, take care of business, get it done. So we look forward to seeing you guys next week. We are super excited for Triple O Dynasty. If you are looking for more information, please visit our website, triplodynasty.com, or you can find more information posted throughout our IG page.
Yes, I love her. I know. I feel like I'm obsessed, but I think she's generally a great person. She's, maybe she could do a little more for the division. But you know what? She's doing something that, having a show, especially where the numbers has fallen off for women's bodybuilding in the last, few years. And put in Eunice, she's put up the varsity jackets and also some of the prize money for this show.
Awesome.
And that is great what she's doing. And that's why I want people to support the Bad Rap brand, because they're out there doing the work. They're out there putting the time. Anytime you send me something and she tags me in it, I post it in my IG, or I post something in my post in my stories, because I want to show support. Like again, this woman, I really appreciate it.
So how did you come up with the name Bad Rap? I really want to know. So
it's like I was telling you, I've been in the business for over 37 years, and when I first started my gym, there was two young brothers who used to come to the gym. One of them was about 15 years old, and the other one was about 19. And my husband and I were probably the very first bodybuilders in this rural town in East Texas. Okay. So, being 25 years old, and I was at the prime of my bodybuilding, I was, a pariah here in town. And so people would look at me and they're like, wow. And of course, back in the 80s and 90s, to be a bodybuilder was, it was magical. You would because they would look at you and they were seeing it on mainstream. They'd see it on ESPN. So these kids looked up to us, and my husband was also a competitor. And so they started calling my husband Big Will because his name is Willie. So they called him Big Will. And then they would call me, oh, and look at Eunice, she's so defined. And so then when I started getting ready for shows, they'd be like, oh my God, look at Eunice, she's ripped. And look at Will, he's pumped. So they put it together. And so they made us some t-shirts because one of the older brother went on to own a t-shirt printing shop. And so he said, Eunice, when I open my shop, I'm going to make your t-shirts for you. I'm like, okay, cool. So when he made us the shirts, the slogan was bad rap, big and defined, ripped and pumped. So my husband and I were bad rap.
Okay, so that's cool.
So that stood for big and defined, ripped and pumped. And so when we started seeing, and I started seeing the, how women's bodybuilding was taking a turn in 2013. Mm-hmm. 2023. Well, from 2012, I started seeing the decline. But I returned back to competitive bodybuilding in 2019, and I really got to see how it had changed. I competed from 1987 to 2000. I stood on stage with Iris Kyle, with Betty Pariso. You name those girls, Vicky Gates. Yeah. That was back in my time era. But back then, it was hard to turn pro. And so I dedicated all those years to competition. And then I thought, you know what, I need to focus on my career. So I worked for the University of Texas. I was a nutritionist for them. And on the side, I owned a gym. And that was, Muscles and Curves. Nice. And so I said, this kids developed this company. And so when I came back to the competition world in 2019, I was now 52 years old. And there was a big difference. The cost to compete. We used to pose in $25 posing suits back
I remember. Yeah.
And it was now, $1,200, $1,500. I was like, what? It was the glamour, the makeup and the hair and the, getting your nails done and all that. So I just really could not believe what it had gotten to. So that's what I thought about was, how can I help to give back? Because myself and Jolene were now, in the position where we can give back, especially to a sport that was so good to me. It's been a sport that's changed my life, and it's impacted the people in my community because of who I am. And I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for this sport. And so this is my way of giving back, but it's also my way of continuing to help the women's bodybuilding division stay alive. So I thought, what if we brought back, women's bodybuilding has such a bad rap now, but let's make it stand for not just bad rap, but make it stand for big and defined, ripped and pumped, which is beautiful. Yeah. And so that's where we are. It's bad rap bodybuilding. We have made it, it's an LLC we started because we both felt like we could give back. At some point, we may think of it becoming solely a nonprofit, because that's what we are. Everything we sell goes straight to support an athlete, or it goes straight to help with prize money. And that's what we want to continue to do. But we've got to get the brand out there. We've got to get the name. We've got to get that mission. And it's been hard. One thing I refuse to do is pay for IG, members. I just don't think that's the way to do it. We've got the passion behind it. So I know that where I see our company going, the mission is being accomplished. It's being accomplished little by little. We're showing up at shows, and the most important thing is we've got to cover that cost of what it costs to have a booth, and that's not free. You're looking at $1,000 for the big shows, or $1,500.
More, I think, too.
Yeah, 2,000. Actually, the Olympia was 4,500. And so by the time that you get to the show, you bring your merchandise, you spend the night at hotels, you've got $12,000 you're spending.
Wow.
So I can see companies not wanting to, they have to make a profit if that's their only, way of life, if that's what they do for a living. I understand that. So like I said, we're at a point now where the most important thing for us is we want to see this brand grow. The more we grow, the more we sell, the more we can give back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just curious by how you got the name, so that's good though.
Yeah,
And
it has a good story, and that's what you need.
And thank you.
And actually, fine. Yeah.
Actually, the young man who started the t-shirt company passed away, and so this is a lot from how I was like, this is how I can move, and I'm going to use this for the good, because he would be proud of it. That it's it's a trademark now. We got a trademark, so it is our trademark.
Yeah,
nice.
That's good, because you know what, women's bodybuilding and just female bodybuilding in general needs more people like you, Eunice, to give it a fighting chance. And I said this, folks, if you want to support her, I left the link to her Bad Rap site in the description. There's some things I can't wear. I could probably get a hat or something, because I'm a big dude. It takes a lot to cover me. But whatever I can do to support, I am glad to do it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, George. Appreciate everything you do.
I knew there was a story because I was like, it's such an interesting name. I needed to know.
Thank you. Yeah. And so that was fun.
Have you put that story out on Instagram? How you came up with the name?
Yeah, it's out on our story. George has covered us a lot. Every time that we get interviewed, we talk about how we ended up with that name, and I think it's a pretty cool,
good story. That's why I was just like, it's probably got to be reposted a few times on your feed. That's what
if you want, I can go back and find our interview, and I can cut it and I can send it to you. And also, I was able to be part of when she signed Sherry Piami to her Bad Rap brand. I was excited. Sherry has announced that she's not competing this year, dealing with some medical issues. Shout out to her, and I hope she's doing well. Me and her been talking back a little bit. Maybe get on here. Maybe we can talk about what she did, because she announced it on Amanda Machado's YouTube channel, her and Chelsea Dion. And as a show, we know that Chelsea Dion's competing. I saw that Mayla did an interview with my man Glenn. She's talking about she's waiting till that Monday before she sends her in. Another lady who I know, Gabby Morrison, who was Gabby Vega, but now she's Gabby Morrison. She's also doing this show. Lena Patak, another lady I had pleasure interviewing. Tiana Flex, a good number of ladies who are doing the show I have interviewed. And I hope we get to see more bodies. I will do a video about it once the names are out. I might even talk about figure, because the last time I talked about it was women's body and physique. But I might talk about it, because like I said, one thing we figured, so many competitors, I don't know them all. It's hard to, because when I do my videos, I usually try to find out something about somebody. If I know them already, you do it with physique, but then after a while, I really start expanding when I start to know the competitors who they are. But you know what? As long as someone like people like you, Eunice, and all these other ladies out there who are giving these women a fighting chance, and to have a show for them, because Rise of Phoenix is one of the few shows where there's a standalone show. There's the Vancouver Pro that's also coming up, I think, the following week after this show, I think a couple of weeks, and that's a show that's also women's bodybuilding, physique, and I think it's wellness. And with the Rising Phoenix Arizona Pro, it's one of the shows where they not share the stage with the banana hammocks and the board shorts. It's y'all ladies, your shows for yourselves. It's always hard to get those shows, because most promos will put the money behind the banana hammocks and board shorts, because they're the ones who get a lot more attention. But to me, really, y'all make up the good part of the sport, and I think y'all deserve just as much as. I'm not saying you're going to get as much as Derek. What's the face at the honor, but at least come on, enough where it wets your pad a little bit.
I think too, if women promote more of the shows, like the shows they're doing, or stand behind some of the shows more and put them up on their page, I think that will help as well. But a lot of them don't want to do that. I remember one year we had to do that like all the time. with Wings of Strength. That was one of the rules in the contract. All the shows had to be posted. You had to do all that kind of stuff. And I mean, I didn't have a problem doing it. I still post the shows that I even have clients in, or if I don't have clients in, repost stuff. I mean, it doesn't take long to repost something and do a shout.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to do it. I try every time someone tags me, I always try and put it right up right away.
Yeah. As you know, folks, I announced I'm no longer doing, I don't care if I've heard it, I'm not doing my Yo Jake anymore. I respectfully call him Mr. Woods. So no more Yo Jake, Yo Jake. I want that money. I want that gun. That is gone. Like as you know, a while back, I'm not jealous of my man Keith. When I see a picture of him and my girl, back in my head, I'm like, he's touching my girl. He's hands to my girl. But I let that go too. Sometimes it's time to grow up and become a mature person. So
yeah.
So folks, I do appreciate y'all here, and I'd like to thank the guests that were here. Beverly Coleman, my man Jeremy Remo, who was here. Also, anybody who watched this, shout out to man Curtis L. Jr. For coming through. And I'll give y'all anything you want to say. I'll give y'all each. Let's start with
all the best.
Perfect. I'll start with a senior guest here. Lady, you go with her first. Then your turn, and then everybody gets a turn. Okay? This is my shit. I built this shit. Me. So,
I love that show. Love that show.
So you are the all right.
Oh, I'm the senior guest.
Yes.
I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I just want to thank you, George, for everything you do for us women bodybuilders. The platform, I know that, we've talked about it before. It's Sunday and very few of us, come on, but I'm one of your biggest supporters. And I just love what you do for us and how you get, the other fans to come up for us, David and Jeremy, and really appreciate that, because without you, we wouldn't even be right now probably sponsoring the Triple O, because you've been a big, huge part of getting us, out there. So I just want to say thank you. It takes all of us. It's going to take all of us. It's going to take more women, passionate women. Janina, thank you, because you've always also, every time, if I'm not on it, you're always part of the guest on George's channel. So, you've got a lot of weight behind you. A lot of people follow you. A lot of people look up to you. I always have. I've followed you since you first got out there.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and I've seen the conditioning that you come and you bring to shows, and you have phenomenal just body. And so it's going to take women like you to make a difference. And I just think if we can get more and more, we can be an army that can take care of ourselves and at least get behind one big show to replace, what the Rising Phoenix used to do for women's bodybuilding.
Yes, I agree.
So now it's your turn, Janine. Now you can get your turn.
Well, first, all the best to everybody this coming weekend for the Triple O and for your booth and everything. Just always glad to be able to be a part of the show and keep doing what I do by promoting and pushing, talking about the sport, the benefits of it, on the stage and off the stage, because there's a lot that goes with it, and the longevity of it. I mean, I'm 50 and I'm still going. Yeah, just grateful to be here and being able to jump on here with you guys and talk about everything and see if we can come up with a good game plan moving forward. And hopefully more women will jump on and not be scared to talk about it and to help out.
Mm-hmm. And now, lovely Mrs. Strauss, your thoughts, because you are you're on the other side. You're with the naturals.
I respect the sport regardless of your natural enhanced, because you still got to put the work in. It's still mentally and physically taxing, no matter which side you decide to be on. Right? They call it the dark side. It doesn't matter. I advocate for women's bodybuilding. I know natural bodybuilders who are like, oh, I don't want to watch like an NPC show. I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, because whether you're enhanced or not, you still got to put the work in. Still mentally, still physically taxed, and you still got to show up regardless of what. So, like I said, that's a choice that everybody makes. But I'm happy to meet all female athletes. I'm happy to communicate and meet female bodybuilders, especially ones that have been in the sport longer than I have. Like, I've always been a fan of bodybuilding, and my first interview was with Kay LA. Thank you. And I first got introduced to to bodybuilding in general when I was 10 years old, because my dad went to a bodybuilding gym, and I saw 2 female bodybuilders, and I was just like, oh my goodness, a woman could actually look like that. I'd never seen a female bodybuilder before that in my life. So it's just, I'm happy, that you invited me, George. I love this platform that you have. Thank you for advocating for women in bodybuilding, natural or enhanced. And it's a pleasure to be here. And I look forward to, many more talks like this, because I actually do learn a lot. Like, I don't know everything. I'm still fairly new to the sport, but I do appreciate each and every one of you, because it's a learning experience for me. It's good to see both aspects of it, from the athlete's perspective and from the business part of it too. I don't know the business side of it. I just know it from the athlete's perspective. So, but I learned a lot today. So, Thank you.
So we got here this hard leg here. What you got to say?
No, thank you for having me. It's an education.
You're welcome, brother.
I'm not in that world like that. I'm just somebody that just admired the pictures and stuff of female bodybuilders. And, there was a time I wanted to look like a bodybuilder at one point, but I don't really got too much to say, but I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share a bit, and learn from people, So that's it.
All right, that's appreciated. Thank you. So everybody can say this. I feel compliant. Talk amongst yourselves, but I do. This is why I do this, because if, like I said, I know a guy who made a comment about men shouldn't be doing this, but who's going to do it? The women are not going to say nothing. There's only a handful of women who will talk about it. But I don't have anything else to do. I got, I don't got no woman. The one woman I had is gone, and I've been a fan of bodybuilding for a long time. And doing my interviews and becoming friends and meeting ladies and learning, and my mind is really opening to what I don't see. Because, like I said, I'm an outsider. I'm just, as I met my crowd again, I'm just a super smell. It's like buff chicks, but doing this content, I get to learn something and get to understand what it takes for y'all ladies to do what you do. I respect the guys, but they get most of their attention. Everybody pay attention to who's the next big guy. Just saw a video somebody sent me, was it about comparing Iris Kyle to Jay Cutler. That's a different level. Iris deserves a little more respect than anybody else, because hey, she has won 10 titles, but because she's a woman and because her look was considered not as feminine, it's just she wasn't given that opportunity. She deserves it. No offense to Jay Cutler, he did all right, but not as many titles as Iris. But anybody who gets in the sport will understand the sacrifice, the work, anything involved in it. I have a lot of respect for you. I know I couldn't do it. I'm a fat guy. It's hard for me, but I really respect y'all commitment and passion. That's why I do it. Yes, I do like y'all buff bodies. I do like that part, but I respect what it takes for y'all to get to that level, because it does. Anybody else couldn't do it, because I couldn't do it. I know I couldn't start myself like that. There'd be things that be like especially if I got a sweet tooth, and there'd be things be calling my name like crap. So, but I thank all my guests, bless you, that were here today, that the people did watch this. Support these women. Follow Eunice and also the other ladies if you want to. You can go to their channel. They get names. Give y'all out your IGs just in case somebody wants to follow y'all.
Mine is respect the shoulders. Just one word, exactly how it. Respect the shoulders. So I just made it simple. So
it's cute.
Yeah. And yours?
Bad Rap Bodybuilding.
Okay, I think I follow you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I follow you already.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, anytime. Thank you.
Janine _muscle_coach or Janine _Jedi _posing _master, because I was hacked before, so I have 2 accounts.
Oh yeah. And my man, you can give out your accounts too.
I got Mr. NUGBA, the Wandering Samurai KLA, and Captain of the Starship. I got a few other, but those are the main three that I be on. So, you know.
Well, I have two IG accounts. I have one that I use for just my live streams, and that's the George Page 45. You can go to that one. Also, I have my Always George page. You can go check that one. Also, you can call me on YouTube. You know, and also I also have a Facebook, account. I also have one that's dedicated. I call it the Female Bodybuilding Lions Den Community. So if you want to join and maybe post and talk about supporting positive stuff for women's bodybuilding, you're welcome. Yes. So, well, March is about on its way out, and it's gonna be spring again. Everybody knows it's spring again, and all the birds in heaven above. This is the time to fall in love. Love. I spit on it like iron fist, like iron sheik. But I do appreciate my guests out here. People here, shares, comment, like, subscribe, follow us, support women in bodybuilding. Just if you are someone out there who has the means and ways to help out these competitors, maybe sponsorship, or even you can get together and maybe help out, maybe talk to promoters. Say, hey, I'm a fan of women's bodybuilding. I want to see it at your show. What do I need to do for me? Okay, we can do it. Just do that. It just take it. Just like Mama Joe said, soul food. It's with a fist you can make a mighty blow. So, folks, I appreciate it. Thank you again, my regulators. I said again, I'm Billy the Kid. I'll make you famous. And I hope y'all have enjoy your rest of your week and rest of your day. And we been always the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Like, subscribe. I am out. Good afternoon. Good night. Good luck, and God bless.
Peace.
Thanks, George. Bye, everybody.
See you.
Bye-bye.
All right.